We are continuing our study in the Gospel of Matthew and looking at the Beatitudes. Now, in this one, we are going to look at one Beatitude, and we are also going to drop down and look further in the chapter that the Beatitude is found, that is Matthew chapter 5. So, reading from the New King James Version, we are going to read Matthew chapter 5, verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And then dropping down to verse 27 and reading to verse 30. You have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And if your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you, for it is profitable for you that one of your members perish, and not that your whole body be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you, for it is profitable for you that one of the members perish, and not that your whole body be cast into hell. In the life of the church, words are important. In fact, in all of life, words are important. The problem is that words and their meanings change over time. Words and what they are associated with also change over time. If I use the expression the gay 90s, what does that mean? In modern parlance, the word gay is used to speak of male homosexuals. So is that what is referred to by the phrase the gay 90s? The phrase actually refers to the 1890s and a period of time in the United States that at one time people look back at with nostalgia. In much the same way as somebody growing up in the 1970s could watch a show called Happy Days that looked back with nostalgia at the 1950s. And this happens all the time. You see, we cannot control what words mean and what they can refer to. In Matthew 5:8, we have the word pure. Have you ever used Ivory soap? You have a sense of what pure is. Or if you have gold bars stored in your basement, you have a better sense of what pure is. A word game here is in order. What makes something pure? Pure. In the case of gold or soap, there are basically no impurities. In the case of gold, like most metals, you do not mine pure metals. You often have to remove other material from it. Think, for example, the simple example of the prospector out there at his creek panning for gold. He doesn't just take a pan, dip in water, and shake and get gold. He has to remove the sand and the gravel around that to look for that incidental little fleck or pebble that is gold. In order to gain that pure gold, they will have to remove the unwanted sand. So whether it is soap or gold, or the life of discipleship, purity is found in the removing of impurities. In verses 27 to 30, Jesus gives us examples that show us what purity is. To be pure can be seen or construed as something external. The history of the church is replete with examples of where rules and the outward obedience to them was construed as purity. To be pure in this sense is to be completely moral and upright according to the rules and standards of the church. What Jesus shows us is that to be pure is a result of an inward change of one's nature. It is easy to look as outwardly being something, while we in our inner selves are at odds with that picture. We can be very adept at hiding our inner world from those around us. It is easy to look the part, but not in fact be what we claim to be. Jesus is calling all of us to something we are not innately. We are unholy and unclean in his sight. To simply reduce salvation to us being forgiven is not enough, nor is it good enough to add a few rules as to how to live. Now, using the above example, Jesus gave us what if I like if I like lust, what it will change just because I'm Christian? In other words, does that behavior simply change because I have a faith experience? It will if it never was all that important to you. Your issues may be money, shopping, or a critical spirit, for a few examples. Now, if the faith is external, that lust can remain unchallenged. To be pure is therefore to covenant with God, to not just change the outside, but allow Him, through His Spirit, through His grace, and through the surrendering of our will, to transform the inside. Whatever our pet issue is, we do not want it changed. To be pure is not possible unless God in Christ changes our will. Our will not change unless we surrender it to Him. To be pure in heart is therefore to be the person who is learning to surrender her will or his will to Him.